Hey guys. Okay, so wow, this is pretty much the end of my Golden Girls series. That's insane. So to end things off, I decided to do a ranking list of all of the episodes. And I did stick together all the two-parters, so the list has 169 on it instead of 180, so that makes it a little easier, but still, it took me a while to make this. And yeah, this list is not objective. This is all my personal opinions, just putting that out there. So yeah, okay, let's get into it. At 169, probably no surprise to anyone, empty nests. This episode, honestly, I don't think that it in itself would be that bad, but I don't care about these characters. I really don't. I want to be watching Golden Girls. This is so clearly not Golden Girls. Like, they're barely on it, so that's why it's down here. 168, we have Bringing Up Baby. The girls just, except for Rose, were pretty awful in this episode. Just waiting for their money, and that was all they really cared. I really didn't like them in this episode. 167, Blanche's little girl. The problem with this one, of course, is that Rebecca, Blanche's daughter, comes to visit, and the girls are mean to her about her weight. Everyone except Dorothy makes at least one, usually more, comment about it, and it's awful. But they don't see that as awful. Yet they understand Rebecca's boyfriend as being abusive, and they understand that what he's saying is awful and bad. But it never comes around to them realizing that they're being bad as well. And that ruins the episode. Like, I know what they're trying to do with the, like, abusive relationship thing, and of course it's very important that that sort of thing gets, addressed, but they were saying awful things as well, and it never got addressed pretty much, like, yeah, Blanche and her made up, but it wasn't, like, it never got properly addressed. It was not good, and even at the end, Blanche was being awful about it. I think, anyway. And it's too bad because, the subplot with Sophia is actually funny, like her dealing with her boss, but I can't even watch the episode. Like, it makes me so mad. 166, The One That Got Away. Didn't need this. Didn't need the comments about Ham's weight. Didn't need Blanche acting like she was attracted to him while basically saying that she wasn't. Pretty sure that's how it happened anyway. And the subplot with the UFO, I just didn't care. 165, On Golden Girls. Okay, first of all, what's with the title? On Golden Girls? What does that mean? What? I don't understand what that title's all about. So this is one of the season 1 episodes where I feel like they weren't quite in character. Like, season 1 is a bit of a hit or miss for me, whether they're in character or not, if that makes any sense. This one I didn't really think they were, but the reason it's down here really is because this is the one where Sophia hits David, Blanche's grandson. I don't need to see Sophia hitting a teen. I don't need that. 164, That Was No Lady. This one, I don't really care for the whole Dorothy Glenn thing. It was not an enjoyable episode to watch at all. Also, Blanche makes a comment in here that is very, very inappropriate. They make inappropriate comments all the time, but this one specifically, I can't even believe that it was in the show. I don't think it should have been. 163, Goodbye, Mr. Gordon. This one, my issue with it stems in the fact that I don't think Mr. Gordon, I don't think they truly understood how awful he was. Like, yes, they understood that he was using Dorothy now and when she was in high school, but when she was in high school, I just don't, I don't think they grasped just how awful that was and how, I just think he got off way too easy. 162, Love for Sale. My problem with this one is basically that okay, first of all, the idea of women being bid on just doesn't sit right with me personally. But Like, they were doing it willingly, and they wanted to, so I guess it's fine. But the idea of Stan bidding on Dorothy when, she really didn't want him to, genuinely made me cringe. Didn't like that. 161, 3 on a couch. So this is the one where they went to therapy, and this was one of those, like, flashback episodes with things we hadn't seen yet. And those are pretty much, like, I feel like they're, like, they're hit or miss, because, like, it's, like, it depends on if you like the vignettes. For me, anyway. And this one, I only liked one, and that was with the one with, Sophia telling her story, trying to help everyone. The other ones, though, I didn't care for them at all. I thought Blanche was actually terrible in the one where she was sick. Or where Dorothy was sick and she was making her go on the date. And the other one, they were all, it was just, I didn't like it. Sorry. Yeah, I just didn't care for it at all. And, I thought the whole, like, therapy thing was a bit, I don't know, just exaggerate. Like, you knew they weren't gonna break up, obviously, but some storylines can pull that off and make it almost tricks you into thinking that they're going to, but this one, I didn't buy it for a second. I was just waiting for it to end, honestly. Like, I'm glad, we saw therapy, so it's good that was there, but I didn't thought it was handled very well. 160. A Little Romance. This one is pretty popular, but I didn't care for the jokes in this one. I didn't at all. I also didn't care for the dream sequence. I know it was about acceptance and everything, and I'm glad for that, of course, but I don't think it was handled well. I didn't care for the comedy at all. 159. Mr. Terrific. What was with that episode? Like, if the Golden Girls had a Twilight Zone, that would have been the Twilight Zone. Like, it felt totally weird. Like, suddenly this guy, Mr. Terrific, is, like, dating Rose, and he's all important, and so, like, it's all based around this story, and we don't even know this guy, and he's obviously got, like, some, things that he needs to, like, work through, and the whole thing, and the stunt thing had a really weird feel to it. The whole thing had a really weird, kind of dark feel to it, but like, it wasn't supposed to be dark. It was weird. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just weird. 158. Fiddler on the Ropes. I know what they were trying to do with this one, but I don't think it was, like, I don't think it was handled very well personally. And again, I'm not an expert here. I struggled to place a couple of these because of this. I didn't think it was handled well. Like, Sophia basically bought a person, and that was never dealt with as well, like, really well, in my opinion, as well as the fact that, like, some of those scenes were just very cringy to watch. And again, I don't think they properly dealt with that fact. Yeah. I'm glad it's good that they tried, though. 157. The Mangiacavallo curse makes a lousy wedding present. Sorry if I said that wrong. Oh boy, this episode is certainly something. I have a whole list of reasons. Okay, the first time I watched it, I liked it okay, but the second time, I realized I have problems with it. Okay, here goes. Number 1, Sophia is awful in this episode. She just is, in my opinion. Number 2, since when do weddings make Rose hot? We've never seen that before. We never see it again, as far as I can remember. 3, why is it the girl's responsibility to babysit Rose? She's a grown woman. She can take care of herself. 4, I didn't like seeing Dorothy and Blanche fight over men like they were, like, used sweaters. 5, since when does Sophia have this man who left her at the altar, like, that she was gonna marry? How old were they? Like, they must have been young. Like, I know times were different, but to fit it into the rest of Sophia's story, she must have been young. Just saying. 156. Comedy of Errors. So, 1, this episode was pretty crowded. The main plot with Dorothy and her comic act was pretty good. The audit subplot with Blanche, I believe that was this episode, was not. It kind of just sort of happened. But the problem with this episode is Rose and her, honestly, I'd call it workplace harassment to Roger. I think his name was Roger. The whole thing was just, like, no, I don't think Rose was doing it on purpose. I think Rose was trying to be nice. But instead of turning this into a teaching opportunity for Rose to learn that, you know, forcing people to like you is not being nice, or whatever, Rose learned nothing. And in her mind, she made a new friend. That's how I took it, and it was weird. Like, that was not an okay way to do that, in my opinion. 1 in 55. Little Sister. This one, I didn't like very much at all. The only thing I liked about it was at the end where Rose sort of helps Sophia. I love seeing Rose in a helping role. I love seeing her doing something other than being the butt of a joke. That's nice. But overall, the episode, I didn't like Holly. Rose and Blanche, or no, Blanche and Dorothy annoyed me, and Sophia's subplot really annoyed me. 154, Mixed Blessing. This is the other one I said I struggled to place because, again, I appreciate what they were trying to do, but some of the humor just, it felt like, I don't know, it felt uncomfortable and like, I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert here at all. 153, Love Me Tender. Okay, first of all, I didn't like the subplot girls for Blanche and Rose. Also, Eddie, it didn't make much sense that suddenly everyone was attracted to Eddie because hadn't they met him at the beginning of the episode? Maybe I'm wrong here, but I could have sworn they did, and then there was nothing, and then at the end there was suddenly this magnet? The good thing about the episode, though, was the discussion about, you know, a physical relationship is perfectly fine if that's what you're happy with. But if it's not, like, you know, you gotta be in whatever kind of relationship you're happy with. It's up to you. And I definitely appreciated their that talk there. 152, Just Between Friends. I really liked Sophia standing up for Dorothy in this one. I thought that was a really good mom moment. But other than that, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't like it. 151, Whose Face Is This Anyway? This one is... It sort of felt like it tried to address Blanche's looks, which I like her issues with her looks. And then, you know, her coming to accept them, but I just don't think it stuck the landing very well. 150, The Commitments. Okay, this episode tried. What I think the problem was it, like, I think it was trying to say that Blanche, you know, she enjoyed her one-night stands, she enjoyed her whirlwind romances, but she could also enjoy something slower and, like, you know, that didn't have sex in it for quite a while. But the way it came off was Blanche, it sort of came off like it was saying, oh, this is what Blanche likes. Blanche does not like the things that she said she'd liked for the whole series. And again, I don't think that was on purpose at all, but that's how it felt, and it did not work for me. Oh, and Dorothy's plot was fine. It was fine. I was good. It was no strong opinions there. 149, Charlie's Buddy. This one, I really liked the whole... Well, that sounds wrong. I thought it was... Like, I thought that they played it well, that, you know, Rose did get conned by that man, because Rose is so trusting, and being conned can happen to anyone. I mean, yeah, it was a bit of a giveaway when Sophia opened the door and he thought that she was Rose, because, again, he'd supposedly send pictures of Rose. Still, though, I thought that was good. I didn't care for the subplot, though. 148, Forgive Me, Father. This one, I just didn't care for. I didn't like it. Personally, nothing really wrong with it that I could think of. I just didn't like it. 147, Rose's Big Adventure. I have a problem with Rose, like Rose-centric episodes. I just don't care about them very much. 146, The Stan Who Came to Dinner. This is I feel like it's a pretty standard fare Stan episode, except for the fact that Sophia invited him. That felt weird that Sophia would offer that. I did enjoy Dorothy's mixed feelings during Stan's surgery. Like, not mixed feelings, but like just the way she reacted to things. I just thought B played that very well. 145, The Housekeeper. Since when do the girls need a housekeeper? That felt weird and contrived. And then it just goes downhill from there. Like, the girls act ridiculous. I definitely like Sophia just coming in and just seeing right through through the girl, like just throwing aside the girl's nonsense, because it was, in my opinion, nonsense. They were being ridiculous. 144, My Brother, My Father. This is Angela's first appearance. I didn't like that Sophia invited Stan over, and I don't like Stan and Angela very much, but I really enjoyed Blanche and Rose, and I especially enjoyed the scene where Sophia burst in on Dorothy and Stan. That was far more hilarious than I probably should have been. 143, The Actor. This one, I love Sophia's subplot, also Blanche's audition. Not even the part that seems to make everyone else laugh, but the part, just like the way she delivers her lines is amazingly dramatic, and I love it. She should have gotten that part. But I don't care for the rest of it. I just don't. 142. If it lasts, you don't succeed. This episode is pretty good overall, except for one thing. I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. Dorothy does not need to respect Stan just because he has money. Money does not buy respect, sir, no matter how many presents you buy. Well, maybe it buys respect from Sophia. No, she doesn't respect him. She just likes the presents. 141. Where's Charlie? Yeah, Sophia's pretty cringy in this one. I think it does show, again, her, as I said in her video, it definitely, I think, shows her emotional tone deafness. I also think it's really sad. Like, you can say, and I have too in the past, that Rose is ridiculous for believing her, and it's crazy that she did. But if you think about it, she just really wanted to hear her husband. And that's just really sad. 140, The President's Coming 1 and 2, flashbacks that we've already seen. Except for 1, I didn't really care for these very much. 139, We're Out of Here 1 and 2, more flashbacks. One thing, why is it that when Sophia saw the for sale sign on the lawn, she immediately went to a showing? Like, wouldn't she ask questions first? I know it just went. I know they needed that to happen for story purposes, but still. 138, Golden Moments 1 and 2. These were a bit better only because they were the first ones. 137, Big Daddy. I find Big Daddy a problematic character, but I really loved the Sophia evil eye subplot. That was really good. 136, Big Daddy's Little Lady. Again, Big Daddy problematic to me. I know, like, not necessarily in the episodes, but overall, what we know about him makes it so that I can't appreciate his episodes. But I did love the subplot with the Miami contest thing for Rose and Dorothy. This is the episode where I discovered Beak's amazing singing voice. 135, Ebbs Hides Revenge. This episode, for the most part, it was on point. Sophia was very herself in this episode. Her reaction to Phil's death felt very, very bang on. The Angela fight felt very bang on. Of course she'd be upset about something small that happened years ago. Of course she would. Her crying at the end also felt bang on, just her eventually just breaking down. But I don't believe she had an issue with Phil's cross-dressing. I really don't, and it bothers me that they put that in there. 134, Before and After. This one, I think, had a lot of potential, and I think it stuck the first, 3 quarters really well. Rose, making a change because she did have a near-death experience. Or whatever she called it. But I think her deciding to come back and realization and all that was just not done very well. I don't know. 133, The End of the Curse. This one I just didn't care for personally. 132, Stan's Return. Yeah, this is the first one after the wedding, after like the second episode I meant, where Stan comes back and it set the pattern. Enough said. 131, Job Hunting. This one was okay. I just thought that the Rose Fights Back was a much better episode that dealt with the same sort of story. 130, Rites of Spring. Just this one, flashback episodes. It had a few moments, but overall I didn't really care for the plot that much. It wasn't, yeah. 129, Love Under the Big Top. This one, I liked seeing Rose, I liked seeing activist Rose. That was nice. I didn't care for the other plot though. I just thought it just didn't do it for me. 128, Brotherly Love. This is a pretty solid episode. I really do enjoy the reactions when they open the door and see Stan there. I do enjoy those. I just thought Ted was awful to Dorothy. 127, Ebb Tide 6, The Wrath of Stan. Oh, this one, I sort of thought maybe this would be the last of Stan. It wasn't, but this is sort of the one where, they end up in the apartment together and Dorothy basically tells Sophia that she's comfortable, that Stan's comfortable in her life and they belong in each other's lives, and I just I know I should appreciate that because it's what Dorothy wants, but no, get rid of Stan, dude, please get rid of Stan. This actually probably, looking back, I probably should have put this lower, but oh well. 126, Till Death Do We Volley. This one's fun to watch, but you get to wonder, how did Trudy fake her death? 125, The Pope's Ring. Loved the main plot of this with Sophia and the Pope's Ring. That was good. The subplot, though, Blanche, you trying to outdo Dorothy by buying Rose a private detective for a birthday present to spy on Miles? You know you're probably going to ruin a relationship with that one, right? You know that, right? 124, The Triangle. This was interesting because despite the fact that in the engagement, or the pilot, I think it's also called The Engagement, it does imply that they're already really good friends. The season itself overall seems to tell me that they're friends, but they're not nearly as good friends as they will be later on. So that's why I thought it was believable that Dorothy, not trusting Blanche to the level she would later, doesn't believe Blanche at first. It's too bad because Blanche was telling the truth, but I thought that was interesting. The episode was okay. I like the way it played out. It wasn't great, but I did think that was interesting. 123, Miles to Go. This is the beginning of the Witness Protection Program. It was fine. Sophia, almost giving her friend who she was mad at address to Miles to help him, to get him to help her deal with her was something. 122, Dateland Miami. I didn't care for most of the flashbacks in this, although I did enjoy seeing Fred Willard. I love him. He was in the Twilight Zone radio show, which is one of my favorite things of life. And I just got totally sidetracked for a hot second there. Anyway, the one flashback I did like, though, was seeing young Dorothy and Sophia talk about Dorothy's pregnancy. I thought that was amazing. Just so good. It made the episode for me, and I love seeing that actress because she's awesome. The one who played young Dorothy, I mean. 121, Born Again. This one was setting up for the remarriage, or almost remarriage, of Dorothy and Stan. It was fine. I liked Sophia storming into Rose's work to deal with Abby, even though I didn't love all the things she said. I did think it was funny how Abby, of course, became Rose's boss. Of course. That was awesome. 120, All That Jazz. Michael Comes to Stay. I like Michael. I do. I did think it was funny though how he just drove Dorothy nuts. Drove Stan nuts. That was hilarious. I do wish we'd sort of had a better explanation of what happened with Lorraine and their child. I just thought maybe a little more on that would have been nice, but oh well. 119. Wham Bam, thank you, Mammy. So I liked the matchmaker subplot. First of all, I did enjoy. I enjoyed it. I thought the. I mean, Sophie shouldn't have done it, obviously, but I thought the scene where Dorothy comes back from her date was hilarious. But the main plot itself, I don't think it was bad, but it felt weird. Like it felt like they should have. Like I don't know. Like you bring up this huge connection Blanche has with someone. It almost seems like they should have used Mammy Watkins for another episode. I don't know. It's just too bad. And it's like, we're not going to mention Big Daddy's second wife, Margaret, in this? Feels like it bears mentioning. I don't know. 118. Like the beep, beep, beep of the tom-tom. The first time I watched this, I didn't love it, but now, I do. Seeing everyone rally around Blanche, that was nice. And again, seeing Blanche going through changes and just genuinely struggling with figuring things out I think it's probably realistic. 117, Blanche delivers. Glad to see Blanche come around, glad to see Rebecca wanting Blanche to come around, but one question, why is Blanche so reticent about this? Like, is artificial insemination like that crazy of an idea during that time period? Like, I genuinely don't know. Also the hospital scene where with Dorothy and Sophia was again, I think it's another time where Sophia just hates being vulnerable. I thought the scene was very Sophia-esque. 116. Mrs. George Devereaux. See, this is why I commented that it was an objective list, at least one of the reasons. Or that it was not an objective list. Because this episode, I don't think it's a bad episode. I really don't. I just don't like it. I can't get into a dream episode. So that's I struggle to put this one here too, just because I don't like it, but I don't think it's a bad episode, so this is what I figured on. 115. Feelings. I liked the way this handled Dorothy and standing up for her principles. I think it handled that pretty well. But the Rose getting sexually assaulted by her dentist was just given a little too much comedic treatment. I thought it could have been handled just a little. Like, it wasn't not handled, but it just could be handled a little more seriously. 114. Family Affair. This was the first appearance of Michael. I do like Michael. I wish Bridget had been more of a character, though. Rose and Dorothy's fight, they were pretty awful to each other, but I loved seeing Blanche just trying to mediate. That was awesome. Also, I like seeing Sophie as a grandma. 113. Rose, Portrait of a Woman. This was the last single episode before the series ended. And you know what? It was a pretty good one right up until the very end. But overall, it was good. 112. The Operation. Yeah, Dorothy, being worried about an operation, I think that's fair. Her working through that seems realistic. It was good. 111. Cheaters. The Glenn Dorothy plot getting repeated, I didn't really need that, but I loved the plot with Sophia and Blanche in the mall. Love seeing Blanche and Sophia paired up. Again, love seeing that anyone can get conned, even Sophia, who's always doing the conning. Also, I couldn't help but enjoy that later on, Sophia was trying to repeat the con on Glenn. I hate Glenn, so I can't feel too upset about that. 110. Guess Who's Coming to the Wedding, the second episode. This was a good episode, I like Kate. I like Dennis. Thought it was good. You know, people felt a little bit out of character, but that's okay. It was only the second episode. 109. Nice and easy. I thought Blanche was very mature in this episode, dealing with her needs. I think the way she explained things was... I think she's pretty bang on that. 108. Take him, he's mine. This is fun to watch, but whoa, I think Dorothy overreacts in this one. Just personal thing. 107. Rose loves Miles. I really like the subplot here with Sophia I keep doing that. Dorothy going on a cruise and Sophia staying with Blanche. But as I mentioned in the Rose video, that main plot specifically with Rose going, I'm gonna cheat on Miles, drove me up the wall. It's so hard to rate these because, like, sometimes I love one plot and hate another. And so that's why it probably seems kind of uneven, but I did the best I could. 106. Beauty and the Beast. I really loved seeing Blanche just try so hard with Melissa. Like, she was failing, but it was good to see her trying so hard. And the plot with Sophia and the nurse, that gave me a lot of laughs. 105. Strange Bedfellows. This episode ended up being better than I thought. You know, I still think Blanche was treated badly, but I liked Blanche herself in the episode. And hey, we had trans rep. Didn't expect that. I mean, it wasn't, it could have been better, but hey, you know what? It was the 80s, so good for the show, I think, anyway. 104. Love Rose. Listen, they shouldn't have done it. The girls should not have done it, but it was just too sweet watching them just try so hard and work so hard to make Rose happy. I can't be too upset about that. 103. A Midwinter Night's Dream 1 and 2. You know what? This episode is trippy. But if you just kind of close your eyes and enjoy it for, like, the quirky, weird sequence I think it's supposed to be, it's fun to watch. And, of course, we have the cupcake scene. I love the cupcake scene. 102. Henny Penny, Straight No Chaser. This was fine. It was something. It was different. One question, though. Who decided Sophia should narrate that? Why was that a good idea? Whose idea was that again? 101. The accurate conception. Again, I'm glad they did the artificial insemination thing. Like, I'm glad they're, bringing awareness to it. But again, what is with the reaction? I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand it. 100. There Goes the Bride 1 and 2. This one was good. I'm glad they didn't get married, obviously. But I enjoyed Sophia's... Like, she was out of line before, but I enjoyed the way she came around and just realized that her little girl's getting married. She wants to be there for her, no matter, like, even if it's not really what she wanted, and even if she's hesitant about the whole thing. It's Dorothy's life, and she doesn't want to miss it. I like that. I also like the subplot with Rose. Rose and that woman. I loved at the end when Sophia just took her out to the lanai to give her the rundown on Shady Pines. That was awesome. And the proposal from Stan. Of course Stan proposed to Dorothy that way. Of course he did. That was good. 99. Twice in a Lifetime. Loved Sophia's subplot. Buzz was... I didn't like Buzz himself was fine, I guess, but Miles acted. I didn't love the way he acted either, but I mean, Rose was cheating on him. Like, I do think that is the truth. I don't think he reacted well, but there's no question Rose was cheating. 98. Motherlode. Fun episode to watch, apart from the therapist, which he is, like, don't share things about your patients, don't do it. But, apart from that, a fun episode to watch, just one thing. Sophia does not love Stan. I don't buy it. I really, genuinely don't buy it. 97. From here to the pharmacy. Why was it that Blanche was so upset about the man being a pharmacist? Like, what was the big deal? I don't get it. I'm glad she, decided that it wasn't a big deal in the end. I did love the will stuff. That was what really made the episode for me. The Sophia's will, and the fact that, the reason she was keeping that money from Dorothy was her heart was in the right place. And I thought that was just, I thought that was good. 96. Stand by your man. Now, I thought the subplot in here did have quite a few issues, and I really didn't like it, but I really loved that they had wheelchair rep in here. I think that's good. I am glad Blanche realized that she shouldn't not date someone because of a disability. Sad that she had to realize that, but she did. That's good. And I got a lot of laughs with Sophia going with Blanche to that dinner and pretending to be her grandma, and it just her slipping in and out of the southern accent, and it was, of course, it was commented on. That just made it better. 95. You gotta have hope. This one was much better on a second watch. The best part to me was when they were in the men's locker room, and of course, Blanche knew where everything was. Of course, men had taken her there before. That was awesome. I think the end sort of got the message got a little muddled there, but overall it was good. 94. The blind date. So this one was, I loved the main plot with John Quinn. I laughed a lot. I mean, at the beginning, I personally did find those jokes to be really funny. And I like that they sort of talked about Blanche's issues with John not liking her for her looks. I think they could have dealt with it better, but they did talk about it, so I'll give them the credit for that. However, I didn't like the plot with the coaching. I really, really didn't. 93. Have yourself a very little Christmas. This was the second Christmas episode. It was good. I thought the other one was better, but this was still good. The whole thing with the presents was funny. Stan showed up, of course he did. 92. The artist. Didn't care for the actual artist plot at all, but man, Sophia's practical joke plot was hilarious, and I loved it. 91. The very first episode, the pilot / the engagement. This one was good. It was the pilot. A lot of people were sort of out of character. Blanche's last name was different. But it was a good episode. I just rewatched it the other day. 90. Went for the money. This one I liked some flashbacks, some didn't. It was a mixed bag, but it worked overall. I didn't like that Dorothy called the cops on that poor girl, though. 89. The impotence of being earnest. This one was good. The famous scene at the restaurant with Rose. I think that's famous for a reason. 88. A visit from Little Sven. I like this episode. I thought for the most part it worked. One thing though, Blanche drove me insane. She wasn't even trying to say his name right. At least make an effort, please. But I don't know, that just really bothered me. 87. The Monkey Show. This was another mixed bag. I think, for the most part, I think it really worked. I really enjoyed it, except for the whole Stan, Gloria, Sophia mess. I don't know what that was all about. 86. Second Motherhood. This was good. I liked, again, Blanche had another really mature moment in this one. I liked to see that. I liked seeing those girls, take care of things for themselves. That plumber was awful. I thought Sophia actually was a little bit too eager to get him back. Like, she did say he was, like, she didn't agree with what he was saying, obviously, but I don't think it bothered her quite enough. Personally, I feel like it would have. Should have? I don't know. Season 1. 85. The Audit. This was good. This was an okay Stan episode. I didn't hate him that much in this one, so that's, well, I mean, I did hate him, but just, I think for the most part, I do like that he bought Dorothy's ring back and just tried to make up for what he did. He at least tried in this one. 84. Valentine's Day. I liked these flashbacks. For the most part, I enjoyed them. I also enjoyed the overarching story and Sophie at the end. That was really good. 83. Bang the drum, Stanley. Stanley and Sophia working together on a con. Of course it happened. Of course. There's no question that would happen at some point. They do have that in common. 82. Rose fights back. Like I said, I thought this was a better episode of Rose looking for a job and dealing with ageism. I thought it was done pretty well. I really, really enjoyed the hypocrisy at that place she was at. I thought that was quite good. 81. Hey, look me over. This one was another good one. The only thing, I thought that, everything was fine. I thought Rose's reaction to what she thought was Blanche sleeping with Charlie was actually pretty realistic. Not that I think she should have been mad at Blanche. She shouldn't have been, but the way I see it, Blanche was there. Charlie wasn't. She couldn't be mad at Charlie because he was gone. But I wish they dealt with that a little bit more. I almost wish they hadn't gone with the cop-out ending of it not being Charlie. I know why they did it, but because I know they wanted to uphold Charlie's honor or whatever, but I mean, it already said he cheated on her, so I don't know. Weird. Either way, it was still a good episode. 80. Scared Straight. This was the first episode with Clayton, and for the most part, I thought it was handled pretty well. Again, Blanche's acceptance, but also not, I thought, was handled pretty well. There was a few things that were very, very cringy, but for the most part, I thought it was done well. I enjoyed Sophia's subplot, too. 79. Rose the Prude. I thought this was very good. It was the first episode of the series that I think I really got invested in. I think Rose dealing with... Hey, a Rose plot I really liked. I thought Rose dealing with, moving on after Charlie was done quite well. I thought for the most part it was handled quite tastefully. And I also did enjoy that little subplot with Dorothy and Sophie. I thought that was sweet. 78. Brother, can you spread that jacket? I know a lot of people don't like that episode. I thought it was important to address the homeless thing. No, I mean, it's a big issue. It is, and I don't think it's addressed enough on TV. Probably, for sure not then. I don't think even today it's brought up that much. I could be wrong, though. It might not have been the most fun episode to watch, but that does not make it a bad episode. Far from it. 77. Sisters and Other Strangers. I liked Magda. I did. And I liked Charmaine, too. It was good. 76. Journey to the Center of Attention. Now, the main reason this one's so high is because of Dorothy singing. Gosh, she is so good. Blanche, she annoyed me in this episode a lot, but I really loved Dorothy. And I love that she got the attention she deserved, because she so did deserve it. The subplot, Sophia's subplot, I didn't care for at all. Why do they... I feel like I see that in comedies all the time. Why? Why is that a thing? It's not funny. I don't think it is anyway. I don't know. 75. The Auction. This episode I found was really good. I enjoyed, I love that Sophia saved that guy's life. That just made me happy. I love the way it was done. I got a lot of, I just thought it was a really good episode. 74. 'Twas the Nightmare Before Christmas. This episode was crazy and good, and I loved seeing the girls' family moment in season 2. It was season 2, so it felt like it was still, they were getting closer, but they weren't as close as still they would be. So I thought that was a really good moment. 73. the truth will out. I loved Rose in this one, just the way, like, her going through, like, what she went through and deciding to be honest with Kirsten. Didn't love Kirsten so much, but I loved Rose's granddaughter, Charlie, and I thought they had a really sweet moment. 72. Diamond in the Rough. Look, the girls gave Blanche a lot of crap for breaking up with Jake. Honestly, considering I think they gave her way too much crap, because you know what? If Blanche does not, it's not that there's anything wrong with Jake or anything like that. It's just that they're not compatible, and it's like Jake said. He doesn't want to constantly be worried about, being like not what she wants, and he feels like it's not going to work. And Blanche was really sad about it, but I think she just agreed that they just weren't compatible. And there's nothing wrong if you feel like there's things you can't work through. Then there's nothing. You shouldn't be ashamed of that, I don't think. 71. Letter to Gorbachev. Okay. This episode, Sophia again makes this episode her trying to think of that, it was like a talent show, to something to show up at Shady Pines. So of course we get one of my favorite Sophia scenes ever, just her smashing that watch, and her reaction is hilarious, and her song is also fantastic in that episode. The main plot with Rose, it was fine. It was whatever, but it was Sophia that made it for me. 70. Blind Ambitions. I liked Lily. I thought what she was going through was, I thought it made sense. I thought her swinging to those extremes made sense. I thought Rose was really mature in this episode, and I enjoyed Sophia giving her advice like she did. I thought that was good, considering, like, Sophia hadn't been in that position, obviously, but, she had been in a position of needing help. And I thought she related that really well. Also, the garage sale was funny. I kind of love, like, I loved Dorothy being just hypocritical in that scene. That was great. 69, A Piece of Cake. A good flashbacks. The first time we saw young Dorothy. The best thing though was Rose and her monologue. Oh my god. That was so sad. 68. Yes, we have no Havanas. I love, love, love seeing Blanche and Sophia fight over a man. Enough said. 67. That old feeling. I thought this was really realistic that Blanche would fall for Jamie, because he was so much like George. Wasn't he the same actor, actually, who played George in the Dream episode? I thought that was really realistic, and the way it played out was very good. I also love the subplot, so that's a bonus. 66. What a difference a date makes. Love John Moretti. I thought he was a good character, a good person. I liked the way that story played out. Didn't care for the subplot, but that's okay. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, I lost my spot. I'm reading this on my phone. That's why this is taking me a second. Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. 65. Clinton Avenue Memoirs. This one, ooh. I thought it was really sad, the whole thing with Sophia, and, her, she was forgetting it, and the fact that she admitted it, that was probably the saddest part, because she's so sad in the fact that it would even have to be bad for her to admit it, because she never admitted it to herself. I think she's just really in denial about anything like that happening to her. So, it happening it was just so sad. What made the episode for me, though, was right at the end. So she had that little, she had that, like, she had that talk with Sal in the apartment, and then she found the Sal of Sophia heart, and she was just so happy about it and happy about remembering, and oh my god. Okay, sorry. 64. Dorothy's prized pupil. I really liked that they did not go for that, like, that they did not go for the pretty wrapped in a bow ending with this episode. They could have, and it would have been happy, and I would have liked it, but you know what? They went for the sad ending, and it was sad, but you know, I got a feeling that that does happen sometimes, and that's so sad, and I'm glad that this show said it, hopefully, because that, again, they were trying to portray a more, like, you know, some things don't always work out. Sobering thought, isn't it? 63. Home Again, Rose. Now, the first part of this episode was just okay. Like, part 1 was, you know, it was okay. It was whatever. Yeah. Part 2, though, I loved this second incarnation of Kirsten. I think that was just done so well. I loved the way they really did show that the girls were a family. And I also thought Sophia really shone in this episode, too. She was just so... She was on the ball, like... Talking to Kirsten, saying what she said about, like, when they were in Rose's room, and she's trying to be casual with Rose. You know, I just thought she really, for the most part, and was really good in this episode. 62. Never yell fire in a crowded retirement home. This is, of course, the last of the flashback episodes. With the last ones that I'm talking about, and the last in the series. I liked this one a lot more, maybe because I love Sophia. Maybe it was because I don't know why. The flashbacks, a lot of them were good. I enjoyed them. Maybe, again, because they were more Sophia-centric, I don't know. But also, the thing that there was a bit more of a story there, like, you know, and I just loved the way Sophia was just... I loved the emotion she and Dorothy showed there. Also, I loved that Rose was the one who figured it out. Sort of. That was really good. 61. The transplant. I really liked Virginia. And I liked her and Blanche making up. I thought that was good. This was okay. 60. The heart attack. This one was really good. You know, Sophia, jeez, I gotta stop doing that. Dorothy talking about, you know, she'd be an orphan even though she was, like, over 50. I thought that was, like, really just, you know, I thought that was very, very touching and sad that she said that. And Sophia, you know, just really being worried, and I thought the whole thing was just handled quite well for the most part. There were a few things in it that was cringy, but for the most part. 59. Room 7. This one... I think this... One little misstep, but other than that, I think this really did achieve what it set out to do. I think it's a very subjective episode, whether you're going to like it or not. I personally did. It was really good. I thought, yeah. 58. The bloom is off the rose. Dealing with Rex Huntington, that abusive man Blanche was dating, I thought it was done quite well. I thought that whole thing was handled quite well. I didn't care so much for the Miles Rose plot. I mean, she kind of did peer pressure him into that skydiving. Can you call it peer pressure? I'm not sure what it's called. Either way, I didn't care for it at all, but the abusive relationship plot I thought was handled better here than in Blanche's Little Girl, and I appreciate that the show was trying to address that, because it is a very serious issue. 57. Witness. This actually would have been a lot higher because I really loved the episode. I thought it was on point for the very most part, except for one thing. Blanche, and the way she reacted to, like, her trying to get into that club and she couldn't because of her heritage. I hated the way she reacted to that. It made me mad. I really hated that. 56. And Mom Makes 3. I love this episode. I can't help it. Like, I feel like probably objectively it's not a great episode, but I just love it. I can't help it. It also gave me one of the biggest laughs of the whole series. With Rose and her story, the joke about the 2 crows. I thought that was I thought that was just so hilariously done. 55. Stan Takes a Wife. I hate this episode title. Ugh. But the episode itself's pretty good. I like Dorothy talking to Catherine. However, I kind of wished that her deciding not to marry Stan had been done a little differently, but it's what it is. Overall, I thought it was done really well. I do have to nod to Stan because he was good to Dorothy when she was in the hospital worried about Sophia. And there were some funny moments too. 54, Snap Out of It. Now this one, again, mental health, I like seeing that portrayed. I think it was portrayed pretty well here. I'm not an expert, but I thought it was. I like seeing Dorothy just really try to help. That was good. Yeah. Just, trying to do what you can. 53. Triple Play. Now, I didn't really... The Miles and Caroline plot was whatever. But, I loved the other plot. I mean, it was awful. Like, Blanche was... Like, dude, did you really think that was going to be a good idea? But it was so good. I can't complain that much. Like, I don't know why. I just loved that episode. 52. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Again, love Dorothy in this episode. Love seeing her helping Mary. Love seeing her trying to talk to Mary's father. Love seeing her use a St. Olaf story. Enjoyed them, talking about teenage pregnancy. And I also enjoyed Dorothy, I think, kind of relating because... she was young. She was older than Mary, but she was still pretty young when she got pregnant. She was what, like 17? So I enjoyed her sort of relating to that. The Meryl Streep plot was good too. 51. Great Expectations. I loved this episode. Like, the Happiness Club cracked me up. Maybe it shouldn't have, but it did. And Blanche, dealing with her relationship stuff, I thought that was done quite well. I just thought, I thought the whole thing was handled as well as it probably could have been. 50. Sick and Tired 1 and 2. I believe this was a very personal story to one of the show's creators. Wasn't it like Susan Harris suffered from this or something like that? I thought it was handled really well overall. I loved seeing, I thought B. Arthur just played the whole, she the whole part of it very well. I love seeing Sophia's worry. I thought, again, that was played quite well by Estelle Getty. The subplot with Blanche's writing was fine. It was whatever. Her Balls of Sunshine thing was funny. I will say that. 49. Dorothy's New Friend. I liked this one. I thought, I just thought it was good. 48. Girls Just Want to Have Fun Before They Die. This one was good. I thought specifically I thought Sophia's saying I love you and then not hearing it back, which I thought that was played beautifully. Just that you could feel like just her, just the way she felt about it. You could feel it through the screen. Rose was a little cringy, but that's okay. She tried. I do think Blanche got it taken a little hard there because, I mean, come on, she gave advice. They chose to do it. They're grown-ups. Still, loved it. 47. Larceny and Old Lace. Loved Sophia's relationship there. The stuff with Rose was good too, but it was Sophia's relationship that really made it for me. The main thing with Rose that was good. The diary stuff was whatever, but the thing I really liked about the Rose thing was when they all ended up in Sophia's room. I thought that theme was really funny. 46. And then there was one. This episode actually, like, the reason it's so high up here, I actually didn't love the episode itself, so it's weird that I'm saying it's up here, but I love the stuff with Blanche and Emily and Janet. I thought that was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I don't care that I didn't really like the rest of the episode very much. 45. Son-in-law Dearest. This was good. I enjoyed the conversation that, Dorothy had with Sophia about, accepting your kids' decisions even if you might not like them. I enjoyed seeing Sophia with her granddaughter. I thought that was really well done. 44. Sophia's Wedding, parts 1 and 2. Love this wedding, jeez. Love this episode so much more on a rewatch. I think, that's one thing I didn't like, but other than that, it was quite good, especially the second part. Again, their realization about each other was just very, very, very well done. Really, really liked that. 43. The Break-In. This one was just, for the most part, very amusing. Also, though, I think they played that whole thing with Rose's fear quite well. I thought that was quite good. 42. Blanche and the Younger Man. I didn't like the Dirk plot so much, but I loved Alma. Loved Alma so much. 41. Bedtime Story. I think, wasn't this the first? No, it wasn't. Never mind. Forget I said that. But this was a really good flashback episode, like the things we hadn't seen. I really enjoyed it. Got a lot of laughs. 40. It's a Miserable Life. This was a very good episode. There was quite a few laughs, but the best part for me was seeing Sophia react to the what happened. I thought her reaction was very, very good, and I like the way that she was the one who, was nice about it, because even if the woman wasn't nice, she's still a person, and I appreciated that was dealt with. 39. The Flu. Yeah, this one was just funny, and I love seeing Sophia win that award. 38. Vacation. Love Sophia's romance. That was so cute. The vacation was good. The best part, though, of that, was seeing Rose just just go insane on that island, ordering everybody around. That was amazing. I think she even intimidated Dorothy for a second there. 37. The Way We Met. This is the first flashback episode, and it's a goodie. Love seeing everyone there. Love Sophia at the end there. That was funny. I do kind of wonder why Sophia was with Dorothy when she went to see the house. I literally, it's just something I always wondered about. I'm not complaining about it, just wondering. 36. Long Day's Journey into Marinara. I love Angela. I love Angela so, so, so much, and I am so sad that she could not be in more episodes. The only reason this one isn't higher is because I didn't love all the stuff with Count Bessie. The story, it ended okay, but I didn't care for a lot of that. 35. Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself. Captain Lord was hilarious and made this episode for me, but also just in general, I love seeing the girls, facing their fears. Thought that was really good. I wish Sophia had been involved a little more in that, but that's okay. 34. Old Boyfriends. The St. Olaf story was okay, with the man from St. Olaf, but I thought the thing with Sophia and Sarah and Marvin was so sad and just really touching. Like, the way, and Sophia just saying at the end, like, this is not the right thing. I thought that was just so good. Also, I love Dorothy just being so upset on her mom's behalf. 33. Questions and answers. The Jeopardy plot was good here, but what made the episode for me was easily Dorothy or Rose and that couple of the Hubbards. They were so sad and it was so good. Oh God. Sorry, I'm pretty sure my camera angles are worse because I think I keep turning. Sorry about that. Oh, I also love how Charlie made an appearance from Empty Nest, because the first time I watched this, I hadn't watched Empty Nest yet, so I didn't really know who that was. I didn't really know who that was, but then I watched it again, and I realized that I enjoyed that. 32. Sisters of the Bride. I debated so long on whether to put this high up, because it is hard to watch. It is physically hard for me to watch this episode, but unlike something like Fiddler on the Ropes, I don't feel like they didn't do a good job. I feel like they were bang on with it and they dealt with it. Blanche was being homophobic and they played it perfectly. And then they dealt with it. I thought it was very well done. The subplot with Rose was okay. I didn't really care about it much. I was busy just waiting for Blanche to come around. 31. Foreign exchange. This was so good. It showed Sophia's emotional tone deficit at the end, though, because she was just like, I think she just made too many jokes there. But I also think that was just her way of dealing with things. I think she was genuinely upset, and that's just how she dealt with things. But it was so good. I loved that Sophia didn't look at those blood results. I think that was a really good thing. She didn't, did she? I don't think she did. 30. Melodrama. This one was just a lot of fun. I thought, just the whole thing was quite good. I got a lot of laughs. I loved that they weren't breaking into his house because, of course, Blanche had a key. Of course she does. And I really loved the discussion of, Mel and Blanche didn't end up wanting a romance. They wanted to have a good time sometimes, and that was what worked for them. I love that. It's whatever works for you. Again, whatever relationship works for you, or if you don't want a relationship, that's fine. I just love that them sort of showing, having these discussions. I thought that was really good. 29. One in St. Olaf. Rose meeting her biological father was really good. The whole Sophia plot was good too. It was just good. 28. Not Another Monday. Now, again, I think this was handled well, because again, I don't think mental health awareness was what it was. So I think it was handled quite well. If I'm wrong, someone please tell me. Oh, and I loved the ending. There's the ending little bit with Sophia and that little boy, that baby. Oh, I can't. 27. Ladies of the Evening. This was great. Oh, I loved seeing. After it all, I just loved seeing Sophia get the last laugh and get to go to that concert. I thought that was great. 26. In a Bed of Roses. This episode was whoa. Having Rose experience almost the same thing she did with her husband Charlie must have been hard for her. Damn, that would really suck. But she dealt with it really well. It did have some laughs. The best part of it was the connection Rose had with the man's wife. That was just very, very good, and I really loved it. Oh, and her joke at the end was funny. I laughed hard. 25. The Days and Nights of Sophia Petrillo. I can't not love this episode. I love Sophia. This is all about Sophia being awesome. Also, oh yeah, and the thing with like the little boy in the hospital, that was an amazing. I loved that scene. That was just so sad, but like not at the same time. It was a lot of things. It was a lot of things. One question though. I'm sorry. Did Rose tell a 45-minute Saint Olaf story? I think it was implied that she did. Whoa. 24. All bets off. Dorothy has her gambling problem. I thought Bea played that amazingly. I thought Sophia was just really like I thought the way that was played was very well too. I thought Rose, I'm glad Rose was the one to help Dorothy. Like I'm glad that I think again, I love when Rose was put in that position of helping, and I thought she did that really well. There's a lot more going on in that episode than I remember the first time I watched it. 23. High anxiety. Rose is addicted to pain pills. Loves seeing them all rally around her. Even Sophia. I thought that was done very well. The subplot with the pizza commercial was amusing. Oh, that made me laugh. 22. The custody battle. I love Gloria 1. And I love their talks about their mom, how they felt about being the, quote unquote favorite child. The way that was handled, like they had really good sister chemistry, I thought. I thought the whole thing was handled really well. 21. An illegitimate concern. Love the Shady Pines thing, first of all. Shady Pines beauty pageant or whatever that was. Loved Dorothy and Sophia doing that. Loved their song. Also, Blanche was amazing in this episode. Like her like the emotion she went through, I thought it was really good. And then of course because of David, and then eventually sort of talking, and it seemed like she sort of like went to acceptance, and I thought that was just really good. 20. Older and wiser. This was just an all-around really good episode. The subplot was whatever, but the Sophia stuff with Dorothy and the quote unquote job was very well. Sophia just came off really great in this episode. 19. Even grandmas get the blues. Blanche and Aurora, like Blanche and just like her, just the way she was with Aurora, and the way she realized that what she was doing was not cool, and she had to stop it immediately. And Sophia giving Rebecca that speech, oh, it was so good. The one thing I will say, I do think Rebecca came on pretty strong that when she first showed up, like, you didn't call her in advance, like, you can't just expect her to I know it was an emergency, and I'm not saying it wasn't. I just sort of think she could have handled it maybe a little better than she did. Maybe not. I'd have to rewatch it. Either way, it was really good. 18. 72 hours. This was Rose thought she had AIDS. I thought this was handled so well. So well. 17. To Catch a Neighbor. The humor was on point in this one. It would actually have been a little higher, except for a conversation that Dorothy and Sophia had, which kind of put me off a little bit. But that's okay. Still really good. 16. Dancing in the Dark. This was the only episode where I truly loved Miles. I thought this was just a really good episode. Overall, the way Miles, the way Rose felt was just so relatable, I thought, and Miles just making her feel like she was enough, because again, she is enough. Of course she is. It was just so good. 15. How do you solve a problem like Sophia? I thought this was really good. The only, it was a good episode, really solid. I loved, Sophia trying something and realizing it didn't work, but I also wish that instead of getting kicked out, she had decided to leave. That's the only thing for me. Also, what did she do to her rooms that was so bad? 14. That's for me to know. I have a huge soft spot for this episode. I think one, because I don't even know. I just love it. It's It really works for me. The voting thing, didn't really care about that. But the rest of it was super well done. Loved it. 13. Mother's Day. These flashbacks were on point. This is the first time, well, the only time we saw Blanche's mom, I believe. We saw Rose have a very sweet connection with that other woman whose daughter passed away. We saw Bea playing Sophia's mom, which was amazing and brilliant, and I'm glad someone thought of that. The Stan one wasn't as good, but I guess it gives a bit of insight to why Stan is the way Stan is, because his mom really didn't care that much, it seemed. 12. Adult Education. This is Blanche's best episode, hands down. She is so awesome in this episode, standing up for herself. Yes, Blanche, you go, because unfortunately no one else was going to help her in that. Like, no one, like, she talked to the dean, it didn't help, so she stood up for herself. You know, it's too bad that she was forced to be in that position, but I'm glad that she did stand up for herself. Okay, 11. One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest. Finale. The first part of this I didn't love. I thought it was very, very rushed. I know why it is. I know it's Golden Girls, but I did think it was rushed. The second part, though. Now, I am a little critical of this. I know I put it like 11, but I still... Because I do think it was a very well done overall, but I do think a few things. One, I loved the thoughts, like, being in the girls' heads. I thought that was really awesome. Two, the ending was a bit prolonged. Like, with Dorothy, coming back. I thought it was just a bit much. 3, the very end scene, did it cut out on the girls crying? Because I didn't like that. Well, I don't know, like, have them have their moment, but then, I don't know, like, cut it on a little happier note than that, or like an up, I don't know, I didn't like that so much. And finally, Sophia's line, goodbye, my girls, and it was the way she said it was just so sad. Oh, I also kind of wish that we'd seen where Sophia decides to stay with the girls instead of going with Dorothy. Maybe we did and I just sort of missed it, but I don't know. Number 10, Old Friends. This was almost number 1, if I'm 100% honest. This is where Sophia meets the man with Alzheimer's, of course. It's so good. It is so... That story is so good. It made me full-on cry. But subplot with Fernando and Daisy drives me up the wall. I don't know why. It just does. 9. Grab that dough. This was just a fun episode. Really loved it. 8. Two Rode Together. Great Sophia and Rose episode. Just really, really, really good. And again, I just thought it was... It rang so emotionally true, I think. 7. Ebb Tide. Seeing Blanche dealing with the death of her father, I thought it was done very well. I thought the reactions, the fight between her and Virginia felt realistic, because again, things were running high moods, and Blanche felt so bad. She didn't know, though. Like, her father hadn't told her. She didn't understand that it was urgent she come up, and I just thought it was done so well. So well. Oh, and the subplot with Sophia was just so Sophia-esque. I can't even complain. I loved that Rose was there and she was just kind of going along with it, kinda. 6. The Case of the Libertine Belle. This one's, I think, pretty popular. I love just seeing Dorothy go up there and just solve everything. And that was awesome. 5. Yoga Hero. Listen, the first time I watched this, I liked it. Like, I liked it a lot. But the second time, I realized, like, this is amazing. The humor in this is I think, probably one of the most on point in the whole show. We finally got to St. Olaf, sort of. Oh, it was I loved it. 4. Isn't It Romantic? Love this one. Love the whole... I loved Jean. I loved what Sophia said about not loving her kids any less if they turned out to be gay. I loved the whole thing. It was so well done, and Rose was amazing. 3, Sophia's choice. Oh, this one was just so good. Sophia breaking Lillian out of that home. I don't know. I loved it, and I loved just, she just couldn't handle it. I loved the way it was handled, and I loved Blanche giving her implant money for that. 2, sisters. Told you I loved Angela so much that this is my second favorite episode just because of her. 1, the competition. My favorite episode is a season 1 episode. I couldn't really believe it, but there you go. This episode was amazing. The humor was on point. Sophia, that man that Sophia was kind of like rekindling her flame with was cute. The whole thing with Sophia, at the end, knowing that that Dorothy, screwed up that shot for her and giving her the earrings was really nice. I loved it. Seeing Rose's competitive streak, awesome. Loved it. I got a lot of laughs. It was really good. So yeah, there's my personal episode ranking. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to, leave your thoughts below in the comments, and yeah, I will see you soon. Bye.